Yeah, you've a habit of just saying things are okay, and I feel like it's like there's global warming, there's celebrities breaking up, like, and you're just saying things are okay.
Who broke up? No, I think we're good now because we leveled it during the live stream yesterday.
I assume someone's broken up recently.
Celebrity news wise.
Yeah, I feel like someone has to have broken up recently. That's important.
Yeah,
I
don't keep my finger in that pie.
Do you usually finger pies?
I have my fingers in a few pies. Yeah.
Is it of a sexual nature, like, or is it just normal?
Inherently sexual, yeah.
Of fingering pies.
Yeah.
Remember what was that? American Pie.
Yeah.
That scene.
Yeah.
What a classic.
Those movies were great. Do you know what? They don't make those stupid teen movies anymore.
There's a reason for that.
Why?
One is political correctness, obviously, so you can't make a lot of those jokes. Like Tropic Thunder, of course, is a great example where people.
But they're genuinely great comedies. Who's getting upset about Tropic Thunder?
The never go full R word. I don't even think I can say that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said a lot when I'm driving, but you can't.
Shane Gillis has some of the funniest comedy sketches in the world. American comedians are not funny, but Shane Gillis talking about that subject is some of the funniest stand-up comedy in existence.
Yeah, the R word is not. It didn't, and they originally mean that, but then it became associated with people with, I suppose, mental issues or whatever, development issues or whatever. So it's you can't really say it anymore, especially now that the YouTube algorithm is shockingly now listens to what you say and then helps define the algorithm.
Yeah.
But they don't even understand how the algorithm works in YouTube, or at least they say they don't understand.
You know what I really want to happen? I really want Elon Musk to buy YouTube.
No, that would be terrible. He's ruined Twitter, basically.
He hasn't. He just got rid of all the softcocks.
Now he renamed it X or something.
X.
But it's
you know why?
Why?
Because he had a website like 25 years ago called X.com that he wanted to do something similar to Twitter with. So he's like, fuck him.
So he renamed X.
Or
Twitter's X.
His biographer was on Lex Fridman this week.
He's a biographer.
Yeah.
Go on.
And he's talking about, he actually speaks a lot about Elon Musk, but he's done the biographies for like a lot of famous people, like Isaac Newton and stuff.
Right.
And
but Isaac Newton, he's dead.
Yeah.
Since like the 1500s. Oh, he did
wrote a biography on him, like, yeah.
Oh, well, you made it seem like he was interviewing them and doing biographies for them.
Clearly not.
Yeah, well, that's the way you phrased it.
No.
Everyone listening thought that.
No, nobody's listening.
Nobody listening knows who Isaac Newton is.
But Elon Musk sounds like a bit of a boy.
I'd say he'd like you to believe that. It was like when him and Mark Zuckerberg were going fighting, because, I think there's this thing where it's like, even though they have more wealth than pretty much any human in history has ever had, probably ever will be, vast majority, 99.99% of all humans, which is fine. It is what it is.
They deserve every cent of that.
But some would argue against that. But
I think they do.
Some might say there's no ethical way of being a billionaire.
No.
Which is, I would think, probably true. But they're trying to essentially compensate for perceived lack of manhood from the general public. And,
I get it with the Zuck.
There's nothing Zuck could do that would make me think he's
not a soft guy.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do.
I get it with the Zuck, like, because he is soft. Like, that's just inherently who that person is. Elon Musk doesn't seem like that, Curve.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know, I think looking for, but like, when he bought Twitter, he just brought like a team of his engineers from the autopilot system in Tesla.
Yeah.
He just brought them in. And he was like, okay, so one of his golden rules is you keep firing people until you have to hire 20% of the people you fired back. And then you literally keep going until you go over by 20% and then you come back. So they went in and they reviewed all the coders. So he just got the team of engineers to look at just code. They don't know anyone. They just look at code and they rank it. They fired 85% of the people who worked there.
Yeah.
So they just said, this code is shit, you get fired. That's how they fired the first round of people.
Yeah.
Then the second round of people were like, are you all in or not? Do you live here or not? Can I ring you at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Or not? If you don't answer that, you get fired straight away.
Right.
Seems like we're trying to change how the company is run or whatever.
Okay.
And then I can't remember what the third one was. He seems intense.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Americans for completely removing all the rights of their workers, really, and just forcing people.
Zero rights.
Yeah,
if someone tried to do that in Ireland,
Oh my God. That's one of the things, there's a few things I want to get back to on the Elon Musk thing, but now that we're on the subject of workers' rights, I think you see a lot of people, we're talking about this, Peter Zeihan was talking about Europe and how it'll probably crumble, and I've seen this from people like Sam Harris and a few other people.
Yanks, like
Douglas Murray, who's not a Yank, but wants to be basically, have always talked about how like Europe will crumble and stuff, but the vast majority of European citizens are like, yep, Europe's pretty good. I pretty like it. It's been pretty good for everyone.
Things aren't too bad here.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain like areas of work within Europe that people are like, so Ireland paid for a lot of things through giving up a lot of fishing rights.
Yeah.
And if you speak to a lot of fishermen about Europe, they're like, hate Europe,
Fair enough.
But for the vast majority of people,
yeah,
Europe's a great thing.
Fuck yeah.
Well, like the European Union is a great thing.
Ireland benefited a lot from the European Union. But even on a personal level in terms of just travel, for example,
same currency.
It's unbelievable.
Same currency, no visas.
Yeah.
You just fly places.
Everyone understands in and out. It's like, it's so convenient. Now, I know that's not a hugely meaningful thing in some fashions. Obviously, a lot of economies are supported by that, but Europe has a lot of benefits, and Ireland benefited
100%.
hugely from joining the European Union. There's a couple of countries who want to join. Turkey have been trying to join since 1987.
Yeah, but Turkey
No.
manufacture arms on a large quantity and they're committing war crimes currently.
Well, Sweden are basically stopping Turkey getting into European Union, but then Turkey are stopping Sweden getting into NATO, basically. So it's kind of like...
What's happening there? Why?
Just political geopolitics. Just like, Yeah.
But I imagine the Swedes are just like fully flat expression being like, no, we did not vote against it. It's like, no, I can see there's a Swedish flag with no to Turkey written on it.
Yeah. But the NATO thing, all that crack. But on Zuckerberg,
the Zuck.
It
was actually Elon Musk we were talking about.
No, we're talking about Zuck as well,
right?
But they think that fighting is the thing that will make people perceive them as manly. But that actually isn't really that big a part of it.
No,
it's just a perceived character that they're lacking. Like, there's just no substance, especially to Zuck, because he's a robot or a lizard man. Like, he's not real, But Elon Musk is, you are who you are. Just be happy with it.
To be honest now, and this is a bit of a sweeping statement, anybody who grew up in apartheid South Africa doesn't need to prove how tough they are.
Yeah, what are you trying to prove? Like, what's the point?
You do not. Everybody here understands.
Yeah.
Nobody needs. You don't need to. You do not need to cage fight another CEO. Like.
Yeah, it's the fact that you think having a fight with another businessman is what's going to make people think you're tough.
Yeah. Just
shows you that you've completely missed the point of it.
But particularly a fight with defined rules in a sports arena.
Yeah.
Technically,
sports.
like...
Woo! Go sports!
Go sports!
Sports!
Organised sports rule.
Yeah.
But like... So technically this morning, I went and fought somebody. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't. Yeah. I just went to training.
It's a sport.
The modality of training is wrestling, pajama wrestling.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you tough, like.
Yeah, the fact that they're trying to be tough.
Do you know another group of people who really need to have a look at themselves?
Who?
For trying to be tough or trying to make their sport seem as though they're tough. Powerlifters.
Yeah.
Powerlifters talking about going to war against the barbell. Weightlifters fall into this as well?
Not as much.
Not as much, but they do.
Not to cast aspersions now, but sometimes American weightlifters can be guilty of that.
I just knew American weightlifters were coming into this.
They didn't. I'm not talking bad on them.
They're going to war against the barbell. No, you're going to training. You're going to practice.
Look, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about this, but now that you bring it up, sometimes some American weightlifters do come across like that. A lot of powerlifters do when they get the photo shoots from the camps, and they've got like the cutting the belt on, and they're kind of like this, in slow motion somewhere. It's that, like, you do you. Like, I don't care.
No, and you do you is great. But
now that we're on the subject,
you shouldn't be lighting competitions like that.
How do you mean? Oh yeah,
you shouldn't.
Lighting them up.
You should have normal amounts of lights so people can see what's going on. If you want it to be viewed as a sport, you should be able to see what happens.
Yeah.
There should not be a smoke machine. There certainly shouldn't be strobe lights and no overall general lighting in the room.
Are you not a fan of the mist and fog?
No, I hate it.
I don't like the lights and time with the music. That would really be like... Whoa.
But it's all that, like, it's a production.
But do you know what, though? Do you remember that Sheffield competition was on this year?
Yes.
In Sheffield for some reason.
Yeah.
Loads of people said it was a really good camp.
That looked like a weightlifting competition with powerlifting vibes.
The lads,
They were up on like a stage.
yeah,
It was a large scale event.
mm-hmm.
You could see the lift.
Yeah,
We've had things being presented for a new show where you genuinely can't tell if it's man, woman, child, alien. You don't know what it is.
the lads from Abs sent us some video of their most recent competition, and they said, "How's that for lighting?" But there was like fire and flames in the background, and there was a lad. That lad dressed as a pirate. Come on, lads, who is that?
Come on.
Why is he so prolific as well? Like, why is he going to all these powerlifting competitions? What is going on? Is he like the Jeff? What are the two brothers? Or one of them's dead now. Who used to present the UFC and all the boxing matches and stuff. The guy in the velvet jacket. Dean Herbert, something like that.
No.
Like,
it will come to me later.
boxing and UFC has guys in a velvet jacket, and powerlifting has a pirate guy. You know,
In the blue corner, but it makes no sense. Like,
they like him though.
they love him clearly.
Yeah, I've actually don't think I've ever listened to him doing his job. You know.
There's a great bar
Yeah.
called Levi's
You're talking
in
about a pub.
Ballydehab.
You're talking about a pub. Do people think you're talking about a powerlifting bar?
I'm talking about a pub.
Yeah.
A public house. They do a load of live gigs down there in Ballydehab. Ballydehab is in the middle of nowhere in West Cork. And there's one of the bartenders there dresses up as a cowboy
Right.
with a fake plastic gun in his belt.
Yeah.
It's kind of a vibe.
I thought you were going to say he got into some kind of weird combat because someone thought it was a real gun.
No, he did drop the gun on the floor in front of the Mary Wallopers, a favourite band of yours.
I love him.
And the Mary Wallopers stopped playing the song. They're like, where we're from in Dundalk, if a fella drops his gun on the floor, nobody says nothing.
That's what, these. Did you see there a couple of years ago? A good couple of years ago now. It's when the police had Uzis when they're armed in Ireland, or the guards had Uzis. Did you see? They found an IRA training camp in the woods somewhere north. I think it was in the Republic though. But it was basically in the mountains in forestry, and they had basically sleeping arrangements. It was a training camp like made of like insulation foam and plywood and stuff.
Yeah.
But they had an underground shooting range, so they had like 6-inch, maybe 8-inch kind of alkaline pipes buried underground.
Yeah.
And so they had like 2 layers of them. And at the end there was a load of tires. And then they put tires around the pipes. Then they buried the pipes to insulate them from the sound. And then they had 2 little cubby holes. And they had about 20 feet of a range of those pipes. And then you could either lie prone or shoot off the shoulder as target practice for...
That's unbelievable.
That's some amount of work, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd love, if I had a big site at home, I'd do that. I'd probably do 10-inch piping though.
Yeah.
That would be very nice. Mainly for zeroing rifles. Zeroing, like...
Underground.
If it's raining, zeroing isn't great.
Yeah.
If it's windy, which it's one of those two things all the time.
Yeah.
Zeroing isn't great. Like, you probably... A 50-meter range would be lows, and you definitely if you're buying a site somewhere, you definitely get 50 meters. You know,
that's why I just like to zero it in as I'm shooting deer. You know, I just like to get to see
your lackadaisical approach to deer shooting and rifles it's how I approach strength training.
But it's surprisingly how accurate I am is the real surprise to everyone. You know,
it's surprising.
The shots I make are very good sometimes. The end of last season, I was in top form. Like, I was peaked. It's such a shame then because the season's over and then I lose all my sport-specific skill again.
No, but you don't have to lose it. You could literally come target shooting with us anytime.
I go target shooting at home sometimes.
So once every 3 months, like.
Add the month before the season starts so I can make sure my rifle's fine.
It's just free and loose.
Yeah, that's how you feel. That's how I feel about you when you're talking strength training at the moment.
Yeah.
How is training going there?
Training's, I just had to take another week and a bit.
Yeah.
10 days off training for yet another staph infection. But we've got Alex Keekle we've Alex Keekle and a dose of antibiotics that would kill a horse.
You're finished the antibiotics now?
Yeah. So this dose of antibiotics is my 5th this year. So it's my 4th staph infection. I also had scarlet fever, which nearly killed me.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yes.
So 5 doses of penicillin this year. I've been assured that I won't get antibiotic resistance.
Yeah, antibiotic resistance is usually if you didn't finish the course. So
Yes.
if you were to throw it away, and that's more of a global thing. You know?
Yeah,
You're not going to cause you antibiotic resistance.
Yeah.
You could contract antibiotic resistant bacteria potentially, or get infested with it, but there would have to be somewhere where that's a thing, you know. So
MRSA.
yeah, so there's no fear realistically of that happening. There's a lot of good methods actually being developed that aren't antibiotics for the antibiotic resistance thing. So
Okay.
remember for a long time they thought that was going to kill us.
Yes.
There's some interesting techniques been developed fairly efficiently. There's stuff like bacteriophages, which are just viruses that specifically target bacteria. But if you could engineer those specifically for the bacteria that you want.
If you could do those specifically for staff, it would be so handy for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's so weird because our gym is really clean, you know.
So clean.
It's just you had Lyme disease last year. And I said, Daire, I think you might have Lyme disease.
It's actually 2 years ago.
And was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was. Yeah. Anyway, I said you should definitely get a Lyme disease test because you're tired a lot, and I think you have Lyme disease. And if anyone's going to have Lyme disease, you're going to have
this
it.
This guy right here.
And you didn't get it. And lo and behold, everyone, just for a record, turns out Daire did have Lyme disease when I said I think you've Lyme disease.
Yeah.
Absolute testament to your mental fortitude for not letting it affect your life.
Just too big and strong to get pulled down by it, you know?
No, brute force and pig ignorance.
To be honest, having just been working for myself for a long time and having previous to that just had a very injured brain, I thought this is how people feel all the time.
It's like, you were exhausted some days.
Exhausted and just like frazzled all the time.
I'm kind of glad you got over it and now you got the test results. Because I can be smugger now. Because if you still had it, I couldn't be smug that you'd Lyme disease. I'd be like, oh shit, you better fix this. But now I'm like,
yeah, just too big and strong.
So Alex has given some recommendations and hopefully we'll put the caboose in it.
Yeah.
I
just need to get my gut back online as well.
It's the interesting thing about the gut stuff seems to be that if you have a well-established gut, it's very elastic.
Yes.
But it's also, if you have a poorly established gut microbiome, it's also elastic to that, you know, so it takes a lot of encouragement.
Yeah. See, I used to be able to, I ate raw chicken breasts when I was in college, didn't get sick, ate a lot of gone off food, never got sick. Like, things that would have killed people.
I'll have my chicken rare, please.
Yeah. Most sandwiches I ever ate in my life had mud or sand in them.
Ah, that's good for you, though.
Exactly. So...
that actually is good for you.
But I do think the last 12 months of being on antibiotics every single month really will have fucked that.
But you have a lifelong gut microbiome history there, you know?
Yes.
So hopefully once you're given enough time...
it'll crawl back up out.
Yeah, that your gut microbiome will establish itself, you know?
And to be honest, it's not even just about my gut. It's just the office toilet really can't take it anymore.
Can't take it anymore. Yeah, running out in the middle of meetings.
Yeah.
No, I think you'll be okay.
I'd say I'll be grand.
Yeah, you've... people survive much worse, you know?
Way worse, yeah.
Now, scarlet fever did nearly kill you.
Scarlet fever did nearly kill me. And it nearly killed the secret training camp in Portugal.
It wasn't that we were going to have to cancel it, but it was going to be like, was Daire going to be able to make it there?
Yeah.
And normally, so we'd rented a car, and normally when we're on these trips, obviously, Daire lives for them and is super excited.
Love it.
And we were driving along the south coast of Portugal, like the Atlantic on the left, new places on the right. I was driving along happy out, and Daire was basically fading in and out of consciousness to my right, and just couldn't pep him up.
Just couldn't even like hold the phone up here for Garth to see Google Maps.
That was abysmal.
Jeez, I was bait. Yeah. And then we had some friends who were coming over. We were sharing an Airbnb with them. Met them that evening, and I literally couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
They went off and explored the island.
Do you know what's funny is some practitioners, some therapists,
right,
will selectively use antibiotics to create a barren wasteland, essentially to seed a better microbiome.
No way.
Now, I'm not saying that's a good idea.
Yes.
And time will prove that correct or not. But, and I don't know how much success they use that, but there's more than one therapist who have spoken about that, where they'll use antibiotics and then reseed it. I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea. Generally taking...
Super interesting, though.
It's really interesting the way medicine is going. I think we talked about this was the last week before, that the way it is going, you know, and yeah, that's the problem is that might be looked down upon like getting leeches.
You know, the equivalent of that in like orthopedics as well is like, no, we're obviously not going to repair your ACL. Here's a set of blades, and we're going to cut your leg off instead. You know,
that's literally what that could be. That
Yeah.
could be fully akin to just being like, yeah, let's amputate the leg, sure.
but also what gut biome are you putting in there?
Someone else's poop.
Yeah.
You know, it's not actually poop.
Yeah.
They spin it down and stuff. And you
Do they spin it down though?
100% they do. They have to. It wouldn't work otherwise. You couldn't just eat someone else's shit. Like, you couldn't just get a colonoscopy of someone's poop. You have to.
You could just human centipede it, like.
you know, when you get a swell in the brain,
I know it well, yeah.
sometimes they have to relieve the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they do it anymore. I assume there's pharmaceutical interventions, but one of the techniques used to be just opening a hole in your brain
Yeah.
to relieve the pressure to save your life. And they used to do things where they'd get basically a hand drill and they'd cut probably about an inch wide circle of bone in your brain. So this could be on
Yeah.
the battlefield or something from trauma. And they take out this lump of skull and relieve the pressure. And what they used to do was generally silver coins and just screw them into your head.
That's so fucking
But
mental.
people survived.
Yeah.
It relieved the pressure. All that quote unquote gunk came out.
Yeah.
And you just went along with a silver coin in your head, probably a Spanish silver coin or something.
Yeah. That is madness.
There's evidence of mummies from a couple of thousand years ago with, I think they're called, it's not tracheotomy, it starts with T. Trauma, I think, is what it really is. But imagine that.
Imagine though, so you've just fought a battle. Maybe it's 12 hours, maybe it's 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You're unconscious underneath a pile of bodies. You've obviously had a big bang to the head. You're probably been stabbed a few times.
Yeah.
And then somebody has to drill into your skull.
No anesthetic.
No anesthetic.
No painkillers.
Nothing.
Even if you had a few magic mushrooms, you'd be all right.
Yeah.
Transcend. Imagine how bad a trip that'd be.
Oh my God.
I thought someone was drilling into my head.
Oh my God.
Turns out we were.
No, but I don't think shrooms were ever used as definitely cocaine and stuff was used. Sorry, cocaine's still used as a numbing agent. Lidocaine.
Yeah.
When you get your gums done or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Get your gums on a lot, do you?
no, to the detriment of my dental health. But I don't think shrooms were ever used like that.
Yeah, I don't know how that really worked, to be honest.
Yeah. In fact, someone freaking out because they're tripping balls on shrooms might not be great if you're trying to drill a hole within 5 millimeters of their brain.
It might actually leave some lasting psychological damage, you might say.
Yeah. There's a lot of people say there's no issues at all with psychedelics, but some people just go mental.
Some people go mental smoking weed as well.
That's
well
mainly
established.
what I was thinking about. Yeah.
You were thinking about the schizophrenia thing.
Yeah.
Mostly males as well, which is interesting. And a
You know-
certain
What's the point?
of going mental. Obviously, you don't do it on purpose. Like,
No, but what's the point in habitually using it that much? You're like, I know now it's 1 in 5,000.
yeah.
But come on. You could just lose touch with reality forever and never come back.
Would that be such a bad thing, though?
Yes.
What if your new reality was class? It was a really good new reality, and you were having a swell time.
You know, so if I was in that situation, the
You
reality...
wouldn't know,
No, but the reality I would like
right?
would be... So,
Coke and hookers,
no, I want to go way more mysterious than that. So,
Coke and dragons.
say before it happens then, right? I've
Yeah.
been successful in the world of finance.
You haven't been. Go on anyway.
No, come on.
Imaginary.
Put me in
How
some
many-
reality. So
how
I can
many
put
realities?
myself- So
Okay.
we're just going one step down and then we'll finish at 2 steps down.
Right. Okay.
So the reality I'm in
Yeah.
right now is 33, been successful in the world of like trading and finance. I'm in a gap between positions. So maybe I left one firm, got a bit of a golden handshake. I have a big portfolio myself.
Yeah. The allegations have followed you.
The allegations have followed through now. And I'm waiting on a court date.
Yeah.
And I go on this like fucking weed smoking bonanza. I go to Amsterdam for a weekend, right?
You're right.
So I'm highly liquid in terms of financially I can support myself.
Okay.
I've no ties to back home or whatever.
As opposed to now.
As opposed to now where I have a dog.
Yeah.
And I'm in Amsterdam, I just trip balls and I lose all touch reality, right? the reality I want for myself is that I move to like South America somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe Brazil. I go to the jungle and then I set up an imaginary CIA safe house that I'm going to keep safe forever.
What? What the fuck are you talking about? How much are you talking about this there?
So, right?
What do you mean?
You buy a
safe
small
house?
patch of land.
Right. But what's the CIA got to do with this?
Because I'm a secret agent.
Oh, I get it. Okay. You could do that anyway. You could pretend that now in your reality.
But I'm a secret agent. Right?
In stage 1 of the reality, you could do that with your finances.
No, but stage 2.
No, but in stage 1 you could.
But stage 1, I'd always know that I wasn't a secret agent. I'd be like, I'm kind of LARPing here.
And that's where getting baked comes in.
Yeah. So I get super baked. Suddenly I'm a secret agent. The Bourne fits a matum. And I moved to South America. I set up a little patch of land, maybe like a small little town, right? Or city. Say 50,000 people.
Yeah.
I get myself set up, find a house, get the house done up, put like a bunker into it, loads of security stuff, get an arsenal of weapons. Everything is set up, and then I just stay there forever waiting for them to call me.
Okay, I get it. Why? How long have you been thinking about this there? It sounds at least
in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, this is super specific.
Yeah.
In current reality, you've got a new dog.
New baby, yeah.
Murphy.
Murph
is right, like Murphy.
It is. I call him Murph all the time, but he has no concept of what his name is anyway.
Is he listening to Murph?
He listens to nothing.
Yeah.
He listens to and he just stops. And then if you're like this, he'll sit down. And if you tell him to like he does listen, he just doesn't know what his name is.
Do you think he could be on some kind of weed?
I think he's on cocaine and methamphetamine. Do they call that an 8-ball?
I think 8-ball is coke and meth, isn't it?
I think so.
Whatever
it is, he's on it.
Zach Bryan has a song called 9-ball.
Oh.
He references 8-ball in the song, but I think a 9-ball might be... Wait, is there not whiskey and something in there as well, though? 8-ball isn't a term used in Ireland, I don't think.
No.
Wasn't a shitload of coke as well, though?
It is a big ball of coke, yeah.
I feel like this might demonetize us talking about this.
Will it?
I'm just trying to think what reality I'd like if I was so baked that, that I had to...
What would you like?
I don't know, really, to be honest with you. I'm pretty happy with my current reality, to be honest.
I like my current reality. I wish I was healthier.
But it's your fault. They tested those ticks in Ireland, and they tested them in Kerry, and they were like, nope, none of them have Lyme's disease.
But we know loads of people who have Lyme's disease.
I've never heard of more
from
people.
From Daire as well.
Yeah, 100% from Daire. Plenty of people have gotten them from just walking around the place.
Yeah.
It's funny is they don't seem to have these on continental mainland Europe, and people obviously come to Ireland, lots of tourists every year, millions of people go to the national parks, lie down in the grass and walk through long grass. Yeah. Germans, Spanish, Italians, I would have thought they have ticks, but I've seen people and I've heard of people being like, don't go in there, there's ticks, and they're just not paying attention.
We know somebody who's a boat driver in the national park, and he just saw a load of people lying down on the grass. I think it was up by Kay Kearney's cottage, and he was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They're like, the sun is so beautiful, And he was like, you'll be fucking dead by Christmas.
Yeah, Now, the one thing about Lyme disease is a tick has to be on you for quite a while.
Yeah,
before you get
like 36 hours or something.
But you always check yourself for ticks, which is so strange. But they love you. It's so strange.
They're obsessed with me, yeah.
I've never had a tick. Never had a mosquito bite in my life. The only things that eat me are horseflies in Ireland, and by God, do they eat me. You don't feel the pain until they're gone, because they use a little bit of anesthesia or whatever.
Yeah, little lidocaine.
You can milk them for it. And I just look down and I'll be like, oh, that was sore. I'll see just a big trail of blood down my leg. It's so...
They just gash at you.
But that's the only insect that seems to cherish me.
Yeah. All insects love me.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
I've seen so many ticks in you after hunting. It's so weird. But how do they make it to your waistband and neckband and stuff?
So they just jump up on you and they'll just crawl up. You'll see them most of the time. You see them, they're moving I
see them on you. Yeah. It's so strange. Yeah. And I've never had one on me.
They love me.
They must have that weird, delicious, sugary blood.
I have the 3% blood, whatever that is.
3% glucose. No, that means you're diabetic. That means there's...
No, I think less than 3% of the population of this blood type, but this blood type can be given to nearly every other blood type.
No, your glucose disposal mechanisms are fucked. You're diabetic. That's what that is.
What blood type am I?
I have no idea what blood type I am, to be honest.
Do you not give blood? They tell you there.
I actually must give blood. I should. It's not... You don't see the ads as much anymore for it.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about that, actually. I need to give blood, and I don't.
It used to be a big thing in our rugby club that everybody give blood all the time.
It used to be a big thing at the GA, actually. You
Yeah.
just come to the GA pitch. That was it a lot. It's therapeutic phlebotomy is a thing sometimes talked about.
Like leeches.
You know what? It's basically it's literally the same mechanism of action. Like they're donating blood. I don't know. The research on that would be intricate, I would say.
Yes.
Like that clearance of old blood cells, encouragement of erythropoiesis, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty like, I don't know. But
and is it really going to work unless you get that virgin's blood pumped back into you?
But sure, I have my own virgin blood right here. I don't need to get someone else's virgin.
You're the one I've been buying it
from. This
is
the one they've been taking it from. There's that. You know, they've done that with the mice, so they've given them not virgin mice blood, but just mice
Baby
blood.
mouse blood, yeah.
Baby mouse blood, it does seem to have some effect.
Yeah.
Your man, the guy you hate, we're talking about Brian Johnson again, but has given his son's blood to his father.
Right.
And they're going to...
Who was talking about this? Was this Mark Bell?
That sounds like something Mark Bell would talk about.
Was it Mark Bell or was it Stan Efferding? Basically, when their father was dying, they went back home.
Yeah.
For a few months, and he needed blood transfusions or whatever, and they were giving it to him. But obviously,
that's totally different. If you need particular,
whoever it was like dosed up,
and
they were like, he was doing great.
That does sound familiar, actually.
I don't know, was that Mark Bell?
Donation of blood for people with deficiencies is
Absolutely.
different, but the donation of blood the gifting of blood for lifelong vampire purposes is interesting.
Yes.
You have to imagine there's some billionaire out there with someone trapped in their basement. They're taking blood from them.
I assume there's organised crime groups who farm people for blood.
You know, they're pretty close to pigs' hearts with a little genetic engineering being able to get transfusions.
No way.
Yeah. So pigs' organs are very close.
Yeah.
I think some of the surgeries used to use them. I used to use pig skin. I think look really realistic, and movie effects used to use them.
Yeah.
I
know on like ballistic testing and stuff, they mostly used pigs.
Like your belly looks just like a little pig's belly. Like if you shaved it, it's just like a little piglet.
It's just a massive row of nipples on each side.
24 nipples. It's getting weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Actually, speaking of nipples, the new puppy, Murphy, every time he meets my old dog, Seiko, just immediately starts feeding from her nipples.
Oh my God.
But like, there's nothing coming out, like.
And
he has full-on teeth, like.
Are you putting the caboose in it?
Oh, yeah. Fuck, yeah.
Seiko would hate that, I think.
Seiko hates it. She just like puts her head in between your legs and just like cowers in.
Yeah, you need to make sure the relationship is good, you know?
Yeah.
Seiko is a princess.
Yeah, at the moment, Murph is a 14-year-old's crackhead.
On SARMs.
Yeah, on all the SARMs.
Saw a really funny t-shirt there, Lance Armstrong. And it was just a Family Guy style drawing of Lance Armstrong, but he's super jacked.
And Princess Diana Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Princess Diana with jacked arms. That was hilarious.
That one's a little bit more sensitive, I would say, for some people.
Do you think?
Of course it does.
Yeah,
she was so popular.
Yeah.
I was literally listening to a video this morning of talking about MI5 agents who whistleblowed in the 90s. So probably 96. No, later than that, 99. And they went on the run, and it was just slowly. So they had a gag order taken out by MI5 on them to let the British press not talk about this or make them not talk about it. And then they obviously wanted an investigation going on. And they were getting a little bit of traction, and they fled to Paris or France. And a week later, Princess Diana died, and their whole story got kind of covered up, obviously, for ages on Princess Diana's death.
And what were they whistleblowing about?
So one of them was a plot by MI5 to assassinate Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi, yeah. So General Gaddafi, or Colonel Gaddafi. Well, he got assassinated in the end anyway in 2011. But they were supporting him or something at the time. Or wasn't the CIA were supporting him for a while?
Yeah.
But they were whistleblowing on something like that. There was these Palestinian students who were basically wrongly accused of attempting to bomb the Israeli embassy in London, and they got convicted. And these MI5 whistleblowers had evidence, or they knew MI5 had evidence to very clearly show that they had nothing to do with that. They didn't know nothing at all to it, and they kept covering it up. Those students were in jail for 15 years and
Jesus Christ, yeah.
It's one of those lad Bible things, actually, you know.
Yeah.
There was a really interesting guy, actually. I think you should listen to him. He was XSAS Soldier, but he was in like the 90s and the 2000s, so it's kind of the cowboy days essentially for a lot of that stuff, and I assume still is, but he went work in the private sector and stuff, and he went to a lot of different places initially with the SAS, and one of the things he was working on the pirate ships. So basically piracy is like massively reduced now because there's loads of like effective mechanisms, but on the kind of east coast of Africa.
Yeah.
And for a while in the initial days, there was billions stolen every year from Somali pirates, and they essentially had no defense mechanisms for a while because it was people weren't really keeping up with it essentially, you know.
Yes, and I think the insurance companies were just paying it off. Yeah,
so he was doing a lot of that in the private sector, so he left the special forces and joined the private sector. And he said there's a story of him at one stage. He said they basically, like, if this left London or UK, he couldn't even carry a knife or a gun in some of these ones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it was a Russian ship, obviously he could have whatever he wanted, or a different company,
yeah.
you know, and, you know, someone who's been invited to do it. But
yeah.
This is the early days where he basically got a load of like chicken wire and had nothing. So he knew that the pirates wouldn't have great shots basically. And he said they're coming up one day, and he tried to scare them off with a wooden gun cutout to show them he had a gun, and he threw something at him like a bag of bolts, and it didn't work. And he said they were trying to hatch onto the edge, so he ran to the kitchen and grabbed the fridge and threw it down on top of them.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So hectic.
Oh my God, yeah.
Very hectic. But he said the money in the private sector, he was in Afghanistan and Iraq in the private sector.
Yeah.
He said like some years there you could be earning like 200 or 300k or something.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
Doing
pound sterling.
See, sometimes it was like massive pay, no danger. Sometimes it's huge danger, no pay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fucking, if the objective wasn't successful or whatever.
Yeah, he was talking about as well, obviously, you know, his life deteriorated a bit at one point after, not obviously, but he kind of started drinking a lot, and he said one day he just got arrested by the police for some an altercation with his neighbour basically.
Yeah.
And he you'll appreciate the phrase, but he said he kind of looked himself in the mirror and just had a chat with himself and was like, what the fuck are you doing basically? Like, you need to sort it out, you know.
Yeah.
It's
it is nobody gets out of that scot-free.
Yeah.
You know, even when you see the most well-adjusted people.
Yes.
And then you watch them for long enough, or you talk to them for long enough, you realise nobody gets out with clean hands. Like,
there's a lot of books and TV shows from some of them.
Yeah.
Mostly it seems to be the UK special forces seem to kind of go that route.
I know in the US you have to have your book approved by your like superior command.
Yeah, I have to read through it or whatever, make sure there's no secrets.
And then even for fiction writers who were previously in the military, like Jack Carr and stuff,
yes,
have to have their fiction books reviewed by their former commander or whatever.
Do you read any of his books?
Yeah.
Any good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Are they kind of like Tom Clancy stuff?
Very like that. I remember there's one talking about like a Taliban prisoner, and I can't remember what book it was, but he basically takes a butter knife and whittles it down over a few weeks, and then attacks a few guards, gets an AK, and as he's coming out, and he at one point phrases it as slamming his finger into the trigger, and I was like, you really don't slam a trigger, you know.
But that might not have been him.
Proper word.
Wait, was this a fiction thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's describing, and then they ruined that book for me. But I read books from him after.
But he was Jack Carr was actually special force.
Yeah,
slamming a trigger. Well, if it's like my trigger and it's like rock solid,
your trigger's disgusting. Your trigger's disgusting because the gun's not clean.
No, that's not clean. I clean it all the time.
No, yeah, but you haven't taken your gun out of the stock.
Yeah.
And cleaned the trigger.
It was always a heavy trigger.
Not that heavy. This is like, I was unsure if the safety was off.
Listen. You don't even know what you're talking about. But, that's...
Oh, you found your antas?
I did find my antas, yeah.
Where were the antas?
So they were in a little basket covered in like wrist wraps and the Kazakhstan knee wraps.
A miscellaneous gear basket.
And it was on top of a wardrobe, and I looked casually, but there's loads of other boxes and stuff, and I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
And then I went out to my parents' gaff, and I was checking there, and I found another pair of Ram 2s that I forgot I'd own. I think it's my third pair of Ram 2s I owned. So I had the initial... No, actually, I think this might be the first pair of Ram 2s. And then I got the blue ones. Then I got the black ones for the Europeans, and I sold those. I wish I held on to those, to be honest, but, you know, needs must when you're in college and you get free stuff to sell.
Yeah.
And then I still have like 3 pairs now of Ram 2s or whatever.
So you've had 5 pairs in total?
Yeah. More than a small fortune worth of Ram 2s now.
Yeah.
And I've someone to shoot. I found my original strength shop shoes.
Did you? Fuck.
Yeah, the small blue ones.
Holy shit.
The handmade ones, I think they were.
Yeah.
They're
made
collectors.
in Turkey?
I don't know where they're made, but they're a collector's item because you can't get those anymore.
No.
They're a first pair of weightlifting shoe.
I'm trying to think. My first weightlifting shoes that I had were the Reebok ID. So the Reebok, you used to go onto their website and you get to pick the colours.
And you pick the colours.
I owned, yeah.
That's so out of character.
Grey and navy.
Actually, grey and navy.
Yeah.
Oh, the terrible pair of shoes.
Terrible, yeah.
The ones Glockoff
was
was wearing.
Yeah. Come on.
That's why you did it, isn't it?
That's why you did it, yeah.
You snatch 100 kilos in those, is it?
No. I did all the training for snatching 100 kilos in those.
They're the worst pair of shoe ever.
And then I got Ryan Flanagan in Limerick gave me a loan of his Addy Powers, the red ones. And I did like a few weeks training in them and snatch 100. And then I got white Addy Powers after that.
What are you? You have the blue Rams still.
Yeah. White Addy Powers for ages. Then I got the black and red Addy Powers. They were terrible. Then I got the Antas, the red and yellow Antas. You know, the Chinese Antas.
Yeah.
And then... But I had them and they were slightly the wrong size, so I gave them to Johnny Shields.
Oh, yes.
I think John bought them off me.
These are... People don't know what these people you're talking about, but these are a terrible pair of shoe. They're actually...
They're my favourite looking shoe in the world ever.
Oh, they look...
And they're just these bad boys.
Yours are ruined. Did you use them much?
I think I've trained in them 5 times, which is the total amount of training I've done in the last year.
They look great. And this whole thing is
so
fine.
good.
This is so solid.
Yeah.
But they're just so small fitting. They're just...
For me, the issue is out here on this lateral edge.
Yeah, if you've normal size feet.
Yeah.
Who was making shoes and just being like, yeah. I think lot of the...
Maybe the Germans have very...
The problem with a lot of equipment manufacturers, both past and present, is that a lot of the times, by the time they have the finished products, they haven't really had someone who trains hard use their product. Be that shoes or belts or, you know, bars or whatever it is. It's definitely a failing.
But it's because it's so inefficient. Like if you think about the amount of time we took formulations of Seek Asleep for, the amount of times we changed in and out ingredients, both of us constantly, our athletes constantly doing formulations of it. Like those things take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And for big companies, that's not it. Like for big companies, it's like, oh, the 2023 line needs to be sorted by the midway through 2022.
But it's such a short-sighted way of approaching things because, you know, you're going to have a bad product, you have a bad name. Like Nike have a bad name currently kind of because everyone's like, I need the old version of their shoe that you can't get anymore.
Yes.
Adidas have now a terrible name. They had the market sewn up.
They had everything. It was theirs for the taking.
But there's even like modern, smaller scale manufacturers of different kind of equipment who clearly just haven't had equipment where people train in it, you know?
Yeah.
You know who's really consistent is Hook Grip.
Hook Grip are phenomenal, yeah. But that's just down to Nat.
Nat, yeah, he goes to China multiple times, checks out the factories and stuff.
And he gets it, you know? There's a lot to be said for somebody who's made their fortune and now has a business where they're fully emotionally invested in it.
But is that because he's a diligent person and it's not because he'd made his fortune, but he would have put that same amount of effort in anyway, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Those Antas are actually the original Hook Grip ones.
Are they? The red and yellows?
No, the black and red ones.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, they're before you could buy them anywhere from Anta even.
How did I get mine?
I think you got them after, is it? Maybe?
No.
How did you get yours?
I definitely had mine before.
You got them from Anta, didn't you?
I got them. I think I bought a pair from Hook Grip and they got delivered to the States and my dad collected them.
Because these are the ones with the Hook Grip logo on it.
Mine are the China ones.
Yes. I'd forgotten how much...
Do you mind if the Hook Grip logo on them, I wonder?
Which ones?
The red and yellow.
You don't... Yeah. Where are they now?
John has them.
Oh.
Here in Boston, Mass.
I forgot how much arch support the Antas give you.
Yeah.
I always remember them being great for squatting.
I really like them for lifting.
I don't love them for lifting.
Yeah.
They,
I like them.
No, they're a bit too high for lifting, I think. They're a bit too rigid.
I wouldn't have that issue.
Yeah, you're always baked.
What?
You're always high.
No, I'm always restricted in the ankle.
But it was just, I think were we talking about it? Because I was talking about the barefoot squatting. Feels quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was kind of trying out different stuff. And the Ram 2s are obviously nice for squatting. They're solid. But I really like the space from barefoot squatting. It just feels so solid against the ground.
Yeah.
Such rigidity. I don't have fallen arches or pronated ankles or anything like that, so I don't have an issue with maintaining an arch, you know?
Yeah.
So trying to find something that kind of replicates that. In the shoe is hard. I tried the the Addy Stars. No, the Ironwork 2s or 3s.
Yes.
Ironwork 3s, I think. They're the Addy Stars or whatever.
These are Addy Star 2008.
Yeah, so I tried the Ironwork 3s. Smaller heel in them, which is good. I don't need the full heel necessarily for squatting, but I was trying to see if I could find a happy medium. But even though the Antas are obviously quite high, they have a load of arch support and they're so solid. Last night I did 250 by 5 in them.
Yeah.
So
I think the Ant is probably the best option for you.
just for squatting though. But
Yeah.
if I was still weightlifting, I wouldn't.
No,
wear
I
them.
mean for this next month.
Yeah. And my best front squat is 240s in the Antas. So, you know, they really feel the stability of them on, you know.
Now, the big question everyone's roaring in my ear to ask you is, in the weeks following your big squat, are you going to do a big front squat? I think you should. Just stay peaked, stay tapered, give it a week or two.
Do you know that's not feasible? Like, you know that's a stupid question. You know that's dumb.
That'd be class.
You
You
know
probably front squat 260.
You know that's a dumb. I haven't front squatted in 8 months.
But everyone knows you don't need to front squat to be good at front squatting.
That's true. No, I don't know. I was thinking about this, but I haven't done any front squats, you see. I'm still doing my elbow rehab, which is going very well, thanks to Dr. Steph Performance.
Yeah.
But I really haven't done any. Probably what's more on the agenda is 200 for 20 reps is really more of a concern, to be honest with you. So that'll probably be it. But a front squat, I don't think I could hold the strength enough where I'd front squat like 250 or 260
Okay.
quickly enough. I recover my front squatting abilities quickly enough.
Mm-hmm.
If I did doing some front squat, I think it'd be feasible, but I don't know. Maybe. I might have a look, but front squats are heavy.
Yeah.
240
Front squats are heavy.
A 240 feeler front squat is heavy.
Yeah.
So 250.
Front squats make you super tired.
Yeah. I'll have a look, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have any grow to do
You
it.
don't have it building inside you. I think you should do 220 for as many reps as you can do.
I've done. It's either 12 or 14, I think.
Like 220 for 20 would be brilliant.
That would be sick.
You have the gusto to go and do it as well. Like
220 for 20. I don't know.
yeah, you've definitely the capability of doing it.
Yeah, it would take a lot of work. 220 for 20 would be sick, but I might fucking deviate an aorta or something there. Like,
You've a big healthy heart in you.
that's the problem. It's not supposed to be big. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching this week's Shed Talk.
Yeah. We'll be back again with a long form next week.
Just so everyone knows, a lot of things we say are just humor in this. Sometimes there's comments where people think we're being serious.
Yeah.
And just the odd time, most people get the humor, but the odd time there's a comment and people are like,
obviously there's certain cases where we're being humorous, and obviously there's certain cases where we're being not humorous and deadly serious, and like the case of what I'm talking about, American weightlifters.
you just don't know is the problem. Or something, when I give out to you on camera, sometimes people think I'm joking, but I'm deadly serious. Like, I'm actually so fucking annoyed at you.
Our life in here is fucking torture.
Yeah, no, it's like working with you is the worst.
Joe, if you were to put a bandana on your head,
Yeah.
tie the top button of that shirt,
Hey, Cholo.
put on like a wife beater, and then pull your pants down so it's kind of straddling your ass, you'd pull off that like, hey.
I would love to do Seeker String shirts. I would love to do a nice shirt.
We are not a formal dress wear company.
Could be if we wanted to be.
No, you know what? We're a sports performance company, and we
Could be a sports performance shirt.
what?
Yeah, it could be.
People wearing flannels in the gym.
A drink at some stage would be so cool.
A drink would be pretty sick.
Yeah. Pre-workout's next. The pre-workout is marching along.
Yeah,
Pre-workouts-
matching that very well.
It'll be sick.
This pre-workout's going to give you things that no other pre-workout in the world has given you.
Yeah, so a lot of times obviously when people are looking at pre-workouts, it's just like big stim. So obviously we're going to have caffeine stimmed, but what we want to be able to do is like mental clarity, freshness, prolonged performance during the workout, and then a big thing will be skill acquisition and formation of better quality movement. So the longer you take this, you're not just going to blunt an effect from a stim like you might get from a lot of pre-workouts. This is going to be something that hopefully over a course of time in training will also freshen you up after a day's work or pep you up for a big workout. But when you're training, should potentiate a lot of the effects you're training.
And it will be accumulative as well. Like those nootropic effects aren't, as Gareth was saying, it's not just like getting punched in the face by a stimulant. Like you will notice a big difference over time.
Yeah, the big stim isn't what we're going for in this.
No, now it will have stim in it.
Yeah, but it's going to be a training aid as much as it's going to be a stim.
Training is perfect. It's an ergogenic aid.
Yeah, as much as possible.
It's a performance enhancing drug that's not banned.
Will be in a tub this time.
Yeah.
So we've been talked to manufacturer about the mixing process, and they're very confident. And of course, our QA or investigation will come back and hopefully
100%.
show that it's all fine. So tub of it, very excited. Possibly this year, but it depends on a couple of different things.
End of quarter 4, start of quarter 1.
I'd say Q1 next year.
Yeah.
It should be good to go. It would be a good little pep up in January. People get kind of sad in January.
Pep.
This will get you.
This get you right out of that little hole.
I'm actually so excited to try it.
Yeah.
The final, like just the scooper.
Yeah.
What flavour were we talking about again?
Going to be blue raspberry or else double apple.
Oh yeah, blue raspberry. Yeah.
The manufacturers' names are so funny on them.
I love blue.
Zingy raspberry.
I love blue raspberry though.
I love blue raspberry. I do also love zingy apples though.
We could call it something stupid,
Yeah.
like unicorn.
Stag blood.
I was gonna say like
Unicorn sperm.
unicorn
The
droplets.
nectar of the unicorn.
Yeah, unicorn droplets.
We're sponsoring 2 jiu-jitsu athletes. This is so funny. I'm not sure if I told you this.
What?
We're sponsoring 2 jiu-jitsu athletes. Phenomenal young youth athletes. One of them got silver at Worlds last year. The other one has won Euros more times than me and Owen could even count. And they just got a gear sponsor, like a rash guard gi sponsor. And we're sponsoring them for Euros and for Worlds, I think. And one of them comes up to me and he's like, Daire, can we, Joe, you sent us the logo. Can we do seek a strength but turn the stag into a unicorn? And I just looked at him and I said, Stuart, under no fucking circumstances are you turning the stag into a unicorn.
What the
on
fuck?
Your gi.
Well, it's all sponsorships. That's how they work, but not a
I was
unicorn.
like, do you think we're giving you money to go and compete just so you can, for the crack, have a unicorn on
Of
your
a pretty little gi. No, you cannot.
You absolutely cannot.
Wait, is it the English emblem has the unicorn? Is it, or the stag?
No.
One of them is a unicorn on it. Yeah, maybe it's the royal emblem.
Not a unicorn, surely. The
Wales-
English one is the 3 lions.
One of them has a unicorn on it. If someone wants to,
Wales has a dragon.
they looked out well there with their thing. We have a fucking shamrock, like so much cooler things in
What
Ireland.
do you mean?
I saw the funniest thing ever. There's this thing going on the TikTok where it's the Wild Haggis Foundation, and there's
Right.
everyone's pretending that haggis is a real thing, and they got AI to generate a photo of haggis. So it's like a little lamb with like weird little feet. Oh my god, I have to show you.
Like the haggis is an animal.
Yeah, it's not like, and a load of people believe it, and one fella's like, loads of people in the comments are like, yeah, my great granddad used to breed haggis for racing. Look, the last pair of domesticated haggis.
But what do they think when they eat them now?
No, it's a joke, like, and
I
all
know,
the Scottish
I know, I
people.
know, I know.
It's the Haggis Wildlife Foundation. It's
That
so
is
funny.
so funny.
And loads of people are
Haggis
like, I thought haggis weren't real. It's so funny.
Haggis is amazingly good to eat,
Is it basically like pudding, is it?
but it's way better tasting than pudding. It's like halfway between white pudding and black pudding, but it tastes way better.
We like just saw 6 wild haggis on my way to work today. The rehabilitation is working great.
Oh my god!
I
Right,
love it. Go on. I chewed a haggis.
enough
if
of
it was
this.
real.
Enough of this tomfoolery. You'd be lucky to hit it.